Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers, and welcome to my latest movie review, where today I review the 1978 version of Death on the Nile, directed by John Guillermin, starring Peter Ustinov as Hercule Poirot. So you may recall that recently I reviewed the latest Death on the Nile, the Kenneth Branagh version, which is currently in cinemas at the moment. But I was requested by Jack the Film Fanatic to go back and look at the original film, and I decided to, well, look at the original film anyway, because I was curious enough to compare it to the new version. The movie basically follows the same story as the remake, but I will just go over the plot synopsis anyway. As Hercule Poirot enjoys a luxurious cruise down the Nile, a newlywed heiress is found murdered on board. Can Poirot identify the killer before the ship reaches the end of its journey? This movie is obviously hailed as quite a classic, and certainly in comparison to the remake which came out. And I enjoyed the remake. I thought it was good. It was perfectly adequate, but there was nothing remotely special about it. But I thought it was a good time. So watching this version and then the newer version, this is definitely the better version. There's no question about that. I really like this movie. I think it's a really great, very gripping, very strong murder mystery drama. And I think that the plot is incredibly coherent, makes a lot of sense, and all the character motivations and character development is very strong here. And I think it's arguably written a lot better than the new one. And I have to say, this movie is a delight to watch. It just looks amazing. Wow, the cinematography and production design is outstanding. And I believe the movie also won an Oscar for costume design, so that's pretty amazing. Do I think this movie is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece? Sadly not. I don't think this movie is perfect. I really like it. I think it's a great movie, but my only criticism of this movie is it is too damn long. This movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it drags quite a lot. I know they're building the suspense up and they're building up the mystery, but it takes over an hour before we even get to the murder. And I do think the first hour of this film is incredibly padded, and I think we could have lost some of this. I think you could have lost 20 minutes out of this film. There's a long section where they go to the pyramids, when they were visiting the pyramids in Egypt. That section does drag on quite a bit. There's a lot of conversations which I know are important to the story, but some of them probably could have been removed due to running time. I just think that the pace of this film is a little bit, slow. It takes a while to get going for them to sort of get on the cruise. And I understand the movie wants us to sort of appreciate the slow burn and the build up to the mystery and to feel the impact of the revelations at the end of the film. I get that. Just as a viewer, I felt that this movie was 20 minutes too long. It could have been done in 2 hours, I think. But that being said, let's talk about the cast, because wow, the cast, this is definitely the strength of this movie is its cast. We have Peter Ustinov as Hercule Poirot. And Peter Ustinov is great. I mean, I don't think he's the best Poirot. I think maybe David Suchet takes that honour. But I think maybe I like this guy a bit more than Kenneth Branagh. I just think that Ustinov's version is a lot more charming. I think he has a lot more charm, and he's a lot more eloquent, and he's a lot more lovable. He's quite much more likeable. In the remake, they go into Poirot's backstory, and they try to show how tough he is with being in the war and being a survivor, and how he sort of suffered from a face disfigurement. And while Kenneth Branagh has his moments of charm, I just felt like this version is a guy you could actually, you could socialise with. You could go into a pub with Ustinov's version and you'd have a great time. And, he just brings that charm. But when he gets down to business, when he's trying to solve the case, he's excellent and he's very focused and very on point. Again, both versions of, all different versions of Poirot that we've seen have been very good in their own way. I just think, personally, Ustinov is slightly better than Branagh. That's all I'm saying. As for the other cast members, we've got Mia Farrow as Jacqueline de Belfort. She's one of the best in the cast. I think she's very good. She has a lot of dramatic things to do. Certainly the character is quite a prominent one. I mean, someone called Emma Mackey plays her in the remake. And I'm sorry, I don't want to keep comparing to the remake, but I think Mia Farrow's version is excellent. She's really, kind of unhinged. She's a really twisted character. Certainly, I think arguably the most interesting character of all of the potential suspects for the murder. We have Simon McCorkindale as Simon Doyle, he's very good. I like him very much. Jane Birkin as Louise Bourget, who is the maid, the sort of personal assistant to Lynette. We have Lois Chiles, former Bond girl. Lois Chiles plays Lynette Ridgway, and she plays the sort of sexy heiress who's got all this wealth and money very well. Gal Gadot plays her in the remake, but I like Lois Chiles a lot, and I think she does a really good job. It's funny, I think this movie was only a year before Moonraker came out, so she would then go on to be in James Bond after this, but I like her very much. I mean, Lynette is a bitch in this one. Much more of a bitch than in the remake. Yeah, I think they wrote her character a lot differently in this film. She definitely feels like she's quite hidden behind her money and her wealth, and that gives her some power. Like the way she treats some people. When there's a scene where she says to somebody, you can sue me, but it'll be your funeral because, basically, I've got enough money to secure myself. She doesn't say those exact words, but you understand what I mean. She's a very powerful woman, and the death is incredibly shocking, to say the least. But the mystery as to who did it is also very intriguing. I feel like once the movie gets to that point, once the movie gets to the point where she's murdered, and when the mystery is trying to be solved, I feel like the movie from then to the end is on a firm footing to keep the suspense, and it's still intriguing. It's just the first hour that needed to be trimmed, in my opinion. We've also got Bette Davis as Mrs. Van Schulier. She's good. She's quite charismatic in her role. She's got a couple of funny lines as well. John Finch as Mr. Ferguson. Olivia Hussey as Rosalie Otterbone, who is the daughter of Angela Lansbury's character, Mrs. Salome Otterbone. Now, in the remake, I believe they actually changed these characters a bit. The Otterbones were musicians, whereas in this film, Salome Otterbone is an author. And in the remake, it was Letitia Wright's character, and I forget who else played the mother or the auntie or something. They kind of flipped a few things around in the remake, but I like the fact that they were mother and daughter in this one. When we didn't get too many scenes with them, but it was still nice to see their relationship and how they were worried about money and everything, and how at least Rosalie gets a happy ending, more or less. I mean, Angela Lansbury is a fantastic actress. I mean, she's phenomenal. She's really, really phenomenal, and the role that she plays in this particular film is very good. And I like the way she addresses Poirot by calling him Hercules Porridge. She also gets the names a little confused, but she's still delightful. And I think the characters just have a bit more personality in this one than what they do in the remake. I'm not slating the cast of the remake. The cast of the remake were fine, but I just feel these are slightly better. David Niven plays Colonel Race. He's very good. He's kind of Poirot's right-hand man when they're trying to figure out the mystery. George Kennedy as Andrew Pennington. He's also very good. I.S. Johar as the manager of the boat. There's quite an amusing scene when they first arrive on the boat, and he's trying to guess who they are, and he gets it completely wrong, but he's still funny. Maggie Smith, yes, Dame Maggie Smith as Mrs. Bowers. She's very good. I like her sternness and the fact that she and Bette Davis have a bit of a back and forth rivalry, but there's also the respect there. But there's that kind of banter which is a bit fun. Last I mentioned Jack Warden as Dr. Bessner as the Doctor. He's very good. Harry Andrews as Barnstaple. Sam Wanamaker as Rockford. And those are pretty much the main members of the cast. And, all in all, they do a fantastic job. The direction by John Guillermin is really good, and the screenplay is pretty outstanding. You understand where each character is coming from, you understand the motivations and how it all links into the story. So, narratively, I can't fault this movie. I think that the story is excellent. It's very well told. It makes complete sense. It's riveting as well. It's riveting to want to know the mystery. Even though I saw the remake first, I was still intrigued as to how this movie was going to display some of those revelations. And they went into a little bit more detail, actually, about certainly the relationships with some of the characters. So there was a bit more character development, which was appreciated. Like I said, the only thing that lets it down is the pacing in the first hour. I'm like, okay, John Guillermin, I'm following this. I understand we're building up, but can we please just get to the point? We don't need a whole hour to build up. I think that was the mistake. 45 minutes would have been fine. An hour, no, that wasn't necessary. Also, the music by Nino Rota is very good as well. I think the music is a bit more cheery and charming than the music from the remake. So yeah, I really liked this film. It was nice to see this version in comparison to the remake. And I definitely think this is better. It's definitely much more polished. It's much more styled. I think, you know, production design looks fantastic. The locations are amazing as well. Forgot to mention, like, going to Egypt is pretty amazing. And I know they probably did do that with the new one, but the new one relied a lot on green screen. And this one obviously didn't have that issue. It's an excellent piece of filmmaking. It's just a little too long. So, in my overall opinion, I'm going to give The Death on the Nile a very strong 9 out of 10. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't quite give it a 10, but it's a really enjoyable film, and I'm really glad I saw it. And yeah, I'll definitely review some more Agatha Christie movies in the future. So thank you very much all for watching this review. Please hit the subscribe button down below. I'd love to see more comments from all of you in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos to come. And until next time, I'm Mr. Tiles11. See ya.